Welcome, survivors, seekers, and thrivers. I'm your host, Shari Lee Roberts, psychic medium, energy healer, and living proof that you can transform your pain into power. Each episode, we dive into trauma healing, developing your intuitive gifts, and reclaiming your life. Get ready for real stories, deep wisdom, and a little laughter along the way.
You said this was done, and the heels unknowingly of COVID-19. You're no longer at the bank, or were you?
I was let go from the bank February of 2019. It was right before the official shutdown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. 2020.
I'm sorry. February of 2020. Sorry. Yeah.
Okay. Why don't you take a kit from there?
Okay. So here I am, living life, enjoying myself. I traveled on a cruise in February. That was right before I was let go. And Pat was with me. It was an organ donation awareness cruise. So we had, I don't know, maybe about 60 of our friends from the transplant community, living donors, recipients, caregivers on this amazing cruise that we had. So that was fantastic.
Yeah.
And I come back, and unfortunately I was laid off after 31 years. No rhyme or reason. It was just my number, I guess. And then in March, COVID hit, right? Shutdown hit. The world, we had no, foresight what was going to happen or anything. Everything was, temporary, 2 weeks, whatever the case. Well, my sister worked in the emergency room of a local hospital, a smaller hospital. And unfortunately, she got COVID. And we don't really know exactly how she got it. We assume it's from the patients coming in, because at that time, it was like a triage. Like, you couldn't even go in the hospital. You had to go outside, and they had a tent outside.
Yeah.
So if you remember back then, it was a whole poop show. I won't use the bad word, but yeah, it's a whole, that whole world was, I can speak for myself because we all went through this, but as I put it, the world paused for some people, but it stopped for many people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And your family are one of thousands who the world stopped. Tell us about your sister. You were the youngest of three.
Yes.
She, the oldest, working in ER in around patients. Okay.
Yeah.
What had the quarantine gone into place?
Yes, it did.
How so? Tell us your sister's name and how you two got along, your relationship, and then take us to how you found out about her.
Yeah. Okay. So my sister was, her name's Vivian. She was 7 years older than me. She was actually the middle child. So we always used to bother her because she was the middle child, She's, growing up, we were typical sisters where you would fight. We had to share the room together. And
Uh-huh.
she was 7 years older than me, so she would be out in the disco, and I would be like, "Oh no, I'm still a teenager at that point." Yeah, I was still a teenager at that point. So, envying her that she got to go out, and that's when, it was the disco era, right?
Yeah.
Where you wore like the Dan skin outfits and like the
Yeah.
glitter tops and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
she was totally into that. And yeah, we as we matured and we got older, we became much closer. She got married, she had her family, same thing with me. So, when you're older, it's a different type of relationship.
Yeah.
It's a bond, more of a bond, I think, because
Yes.
now you're not just sisters, you're best friends,
Yeah.
you know. Yeah. So, leading up to the COVID, she was diagnosed very quickly. It was the beginning of April 2020 is when she got diagnosed. I didn't even know she was sick. She didn't tell me because she knew I would freak out. Especially, I was so petrified because here I am, an immunosuppressed person.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about double masking and not going out and making sure I'm washing my hands and all that. And here
Oh
she's going
my
to work
God.
with all these people infested. And at that point, remember, they didn't even know how to treat this. They didn't
Yeah.
know what it was. They didn't
Mhm.
have any medicine for it. You had to take a test. The test took like 5 days, 7 days to get the results. It wasn't
Yeah.
like that little swab test now that we have.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a whole different world back then. And I remember she told me that it was like a war zone in her hospital. Like people were lined up in the hallways because they didn't have any rooms for them. That's how overwhelming it was with all these
Right.
sick people, infested people that went there.
Yep.
But she was a trooper, and she said, "Listen, it is what it is. I'm going to go to work." And even her husband, he's like, don't go, whatever. My sister wanted to do what she wanted to do. She loved what she did. She loved especially like the kids that would come in and, you know,
Mhm.
make sure they were comfortable. She gave them, she would bring in like coloring books and things like that just to, keep them comfortable and entertained while they were
Mhm.
at the hospital waiting to see the doctor and all that. And
Yeah.
it was just very, very quick. She got tested. We had to wait. She was quarantined, and she had to go to the hospital because I don't even remember exactly because she never really told me everything. And within a week she was gone. And I didn't even talk to her when she was in the hospital because I knew she was having trouble breathing. So I would text her, and I didn't even text her like all day long, only like a couple times a day. And the doctors, you could even call to see how she was. The doctor would call you one time a day to give you an update. And I was the designated person because my brother-in-law also had COVID, but he had no symptoms. So
Uh,
COVID was very, very strange,
yeah.
thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was the designated person, which was fine, try and be strong, you do the best you can. So they would relay the information to me, I would relay it to the family. And it was like a roller coaster. One day she was improving, one day it went down. They had to put her on kidney dialysis for a little bit because her kidney function, basically your body shuts down. And in her case, and then she passed. We got that call on April 16th, which was actually my parents' wedding anniversary, ironically. She passed on their wedding anniversary. And it was terrible because we couldn't go see her in the hospital. Everything was shut down. We were quarantined. You couldn't go visit people in the hospital. And I always say she died alone. She didn't have a family. I pray that, you know, that there were kind nurses there to be with her. That's something that haunts me every day. But that's something I have to, deal with every day, and my family has to deal with. And we couldn't even have, we were fortunate, believe it or not, that we had a funeral, which no funeral homes were open. We had this one family funeral home that they say, yes, they will do it because they lost their son to COVID. So they knew. So they prepared her. We were able to bring her clothes, and we had a 30-minute viewing, and it was 9 of us. It was the immediate family. That was it. We had to stay 6 feet apart from each other. We could go up to the casket at least, but we couldn't hug each other. We couldn't hold each other. Nothing. And then even the funeral procession for her to be buried, only one person could go into the cemetery to witness her burial. And her son went, my nephew.
I do not get that. I know they are allowed indoors.
We were allowed indoors in the funeral home for a half hour.
Yeah, but you're not allowed outdoors for the burial. That is illogical, ridiculous. And one of the many things that so many people like you and your family unnecessarily endured. I don't get it. I never will get that.
Well, because the bodies were contaminated, and so many people that I've met in the COVID community, their family members weren't even, they weren't even to put clothes on them. They were buried in the body bags. It was, yes, I'm not kidding. It was terrible. So we were fortunate enough that this funeral home would touch her, because funeral homes didn't want to touch anybody with COVID because they were contaminated. And that's the reason why they wouldn't have many people at the burial, because it contaminated the soil, they said. So she had to be buried in vaults, in the casket, inside the sealed vaults to be put in the ground. It's a whole, there was a lot. It was the unknown. They did not understand.
Yes.
And I think she was about like 3,000, like the 3,000th person in the United States that had passed at that point in April 16, 2020. And it went over a million people. So think how many families. I think they say maybe 10 family members are affected by every loss. So that's a lot of people who were affected.
Yes.
Yeah. And that was it. We never had a celebration for her. Her friends couldn't come and say goodbye. It was just, not it. Yeah. It was devastating.
I mean, an absolute horror. Okay. So you yourself, you're living in figure of contracting it. You're grieving this horrific loss. You're homebound. I mean, quarantine.
Yeah. Mhm.
What do you do at that point? I mean, your mother had already passed, so is your brother, your dad, brother-in-law, and nephew. Did you all live like in the same area?
Yeah. So my dad was about 20 minutes from my husband and myself, and then my brother-in-law and sister, they were maybe like 25 minutes. So we weren't far from each other. Thank
No.
goodness. At least
Yeah,
we're in the same state.
yeah.
Um, yeah, but
What happened then, and how did the rest of your family cope?
that's a very good question. I was in go mode. I was, anytime there's a loss, I think many people can relate to this. The shock of it and the comprehension of everything that happened
Yeah,
hits you after because
yes,
you are in go mode. Okay, I have to call this person, make the arrangements, whatever and I was the strong one in the family. I was the matriarch at that point in time, so I didn't have time to grieve. Who am I going to grieve to? I can't grieve to them because they're grieving too. So who do you go to? You go to your
yeah,
friends, you go to your coworkers or whoever it is. You go to strangers. And I was so fortunate. It took it took months though. I'm going to say that was April. I'm going to say it was probably about October that I actually connected with a COVID community online. And to this day, we are still family. And I met so many people that lived near me, but so many people across the country. And we would do Zooms. That's when Zoom became a big thing, right? You couldn't
yeah,
go in person, but at least you can talk to each other and, see each other through via Zoom. And that's what we would do. We would just be there for each other and, just, share our loved ones' stories and how we're feeling. And we got it. You know what I mean? And I was never a political person or anything like that. So many people turned us into a political issue. My sister died. That's the bottom line. So
yes,
whatever political belief I have or somebody else has, it's irrelevant to me because I'm grieving. My sister died from this. So that's the
yeah,
reality of it. And
right,
if you weren't affected, you didn't lose someone, you are very blessed
yeah.
because this was like no other kind of death,
Uh,
maybe war, but
no,
this,
you're just, well, how did you connect with others who had been impacted like you and your family?
yeah, you know what? I was just searching on Facebook and I found a couple of communities and they've grown since then. And I would say probably maybe like 25 of them or more than that. I can't even think. We were very, very close and we would do weekly Zooms to support each other because as the world continued, people's lives, the schools opened and this and that, whatever the case, our lives stopped and there was nothing out there. There was nothing out there for support other than, they say find your people. I
Yes.
found my people and I'm so
Mm,
grateful that I found them because I don't know. I don't know where I would be, you know?
nor do they know where they'd be without you
That's
and the others. They
Yeah.
has to be a comforting, powerful bond that you will share. Are you all still in touch?
Yes, as a matter of fact, we just met a week or so ago, the local
Mhm.
ones that we met. We try to at least twice a year, the local ones to meet. And
Yes.
like this time, it was just it was okay to laugh. Do you know what I mean? It was okay
Yeah.
to smile and have fun. Like we really didn't talk about them. So like as we are, moving, not moving on, I'm not going to even say that we're moving on because you can't move on from that. People who say that don't understand what grief is, right? There's
No,
no timeline on grief.
right. Yes.
But we're learning to live with it and learning
Yep.
to continue living in their honor. And yeah, but it's I'm very fortunate. I have two extra families. I have the transplant community and I have the COVID-19 community. And people lost mothers, fathers, sisters, brothers, children. Oh my goodness,
Mhm.
children. So many lost children that people don't even realize that children were lost for
Oh,
this as well. I
I
mean, in
know.
in our in our book, we have an author who lost her daughter, but we could talk about that later.
No, let's bring your book. They are one up to the forefront. So everyone, your book, the title, and how, and well, we know how it came about, but when was it written?
Yeah. So this is it.
Oh, can you also tell everyone about the book cover and its symbols and what they mean.
Absolutely, yes. So this is our book. Our book is called Voices 19. It was the only book out there about what happened, the truth about what happened. And a very good friend of mine who is a transplant living donor in the publishing industry. She didn't know how to help as far as the grieving goes. So she thought that writing about it would be therapeutic. And why not only for me, but since I belong to this amazing community, to help some of them as well by celebrating our loved ones' lives and documenting it down in a officially published book. And it really is to carry their legacy on. And I thought of the title in the middle of the night. I'm thinking, it just came to me, Voices 19, because we are their voices now. And, we need to say their names. We have to recognize their names and carry on their legacy because they were such an important part of this world, and they were considered a number during COVID. Anytime you watch the news, you're like, oh, we had 5,151 people pass away. Everybody was a number, nobody was a name. So
Yeah.
this is celebrating each and every one of them. And this photo here this is actually a photo that one of the authors in here, she took this picture, and this is I forget exactly the location, but it's where she did a memorial for her mom that she lost. So the yellow heart we added on there because the yellow heart is the international symbol for our loved ones that we lost to COVID. And that the Yellow Heart actually started in the UK. And a young girl, they would put yellow hearts on their windows. So people knew, remember, they were quarantined also. So people knew that they lost somebody to COVID. That came over to the US. So the yellow heart is a symbol, the official symbol for COVID. Yeah, for the victims. And yeah, so we just the yellow rose, that's another symbol as well. The color yellow really is. So we took this beautiful photo that she took herself, and we added it a little bit, and I think it's beautiful. It really is. It says a lot.
It truly is. Thank you for sharing that. I want to say I began reading it, and I know that your story is the first of the 19 included. It moved me to tears. You could feel the grief, the disbelief. You also aptly described what was happening at the time, what hurt, what Vivian's loss meant to all of you. But then on the other side, what a beautiful tribute your stories are to her. Anybody who wants to purchase your book and hear more stories like Jean's, and I was, thank God, one of the people who didn't lose anyone, but living through that time and hearing about people passing and hearing their stories, you couldn't help but grieve for all of you. I highly recommend everyone who hears Jean's story to pick up a copy, and you're sure to smile, laugh, and cry. Beautiful tributes in every story. Where can people get voices 19?
Yeah. So you can get it on any of the major online retailers, of course, but I always like to personalize the book, especially if it was if you lost someone, or not only during COVID, but at any point in time. So I like to personalize my copies, which you can reach out to me through my email, and I'd be happy to send you a copy over it. And that would be my email is Jean, Jean, Sime, Sim as in Mary E, 23@gmail.com. And what I wanted to say is that we called it Voices 19 because we gathered 19 families to share their story. So this is a collection of stories. My sister would not want people to feel sorry. So hers is more lighthearted. I did not dig deep and share deep things that were happening because she would not want that. So instead, we celebrated her and all of the other 19 families. And, we're sorry that we only have 19 in here because there are over 1 million families that lost someone. But this is a piece of history here. This is the truth of what was happening while everyone was complaining of homeschool and being locked down and not being able to go out. This is what was truly happening. And it was not only people that we lost at the beginning, it was throughout the year. And this book we published, let me see when that was. We actually published it the book is dedicated to my sister as well as all of the other amazing people that we lost. And this one, I just wanted to see, it was 2022, but I believe it was around her death that we published this book. So around April 16th. I'm sure it'll start popping up on my Facebook memories of when we published it. So yeah, pick up a copy. It's a tough read, but some amazing people that are a part of it, and I'm still friends with all the families that are part of that journey as well.
Yeah, well, change you regarding it. Because if you didn't endure a loss, you do get the inside intimate look of what you will endure.
Yeah. And this, I wore a pin of mine. This, I don't know if you can actually see it.
No.
But let me take it off so you can see it. So a young girl from New Jersey, she lost her grandfather, Cal Schoenfeld. And this young girl, I think she was 15 at the time, she offered to draw these images of their loved ones. So she had people send photos of their loved ones that passed to her, and she would do this on her little iPad thing or whatever it was that she used, and she would make these images. So this is my sister. It was a picture of her holding her cat. And it's through Faces of COVID Victims. They're actually on Facebook, FOCV, Faces of COVID Victims. And unfortunately, we're still losing people to COVID. And if you lost anyone and you reach out to her name is Hannah, she'd be happy to do this image for your loved one as well.
And I will include that in Jean's email also in the description. Now, let's move to another important collaborative work, your other book about organ donation. When did that come about, and who did you the same publisher or writer?
Yes. So this, yeah, Brenda's a friend of mine. She is a publisher now, BC Books LLC. And interesting. This is my I just opened this up. I haven't opened this one up in a while. And it's actually the one that she signed for me. She personally signed for me. So that was pretty funny.
Oh,
So it's because of organ donation, and this is a collection of stories, 25 families, including Brenda, because she's a living kidney donor, of living donors, um, recipients, donor families, and caregivers. So we share our stories in this amazing book, very powerful book. This is the first in the series. She is working on book number 4 now. So this is the OG, this is the original one, and I'm in here in chapter 3, and I share Pat and I's transplant journey together. It's really to educate others and to encourage others to become an organ donor and show the importance of it, and to hear from the donor families, the families that lost someone who were organ donors, and their lives and their legacies were carried on through another person. Most are strangers, some may be, a direct donation. But it's an awesome book. I recommend everybody check that out, because you're looking for a really inspiring book. This will knock your socks off. And the same thing, it's available online, or you can reach out to me personally, and I would be happy to personalize it for you.
nice.
And then we have this one little guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is a new one. This one I co-authored with Brenda. And this guy here is Howl the Owl. And his acronym is Help Others with Love. So HOWL, Help Others with Love.
Well, for anyone listening and not watching, this is a children's book about organ donation or being a recipient of it. So go ahead.
Yeah. So she gets a lot of her books in the Howl the Owl series are related to organ donation. So Howl gets a heart, Howl learns about kidney dialysis, Howl gets a new liver. Poor little guy, he's got a couple problems. So this story is sort of kind of based off of my journey. I've always wanted to do a children's book, so she was kind enough to allow me to take this ride with her. And this was actually requested from the children's hospitals, because as difficult as it was for me to go through dialysis and transplant, I can't imagine a little child that has to go through this.
No.
Babies go through it, toddlers go through transplants as well. So we wanted to create a book, a simple book that was fun and bright, but also educational for the families, and also to give hope to people, because people need hope. And it's a great book. Where Brenda was kind enough, we were able to dedicate this one to my sister as well. My sister loved ducks, so we put the picture of her holding ducks. And like I said, it's a simple book, but it's a really powerful book. It's dedicated to all the brave warriors waiting for their gift of life. Be your own best advocate and be proactive in finding a living donor. Take care of yourself, be compliant with your meds and treatments, and never give up hope. Thank you to all the living donors, donor angels, and donor families. Share your story. Someone is always listening, and that's my tagline. And that's why on Instagram, it's share your story, my profile name. So it's pretty important. And it's just his friend Jeannie, my name, who is sick, and she's going through kidney dialysis, and Howell is scared because she's sick and he wants to play after school, and she has to do dialysis. So he teams up with her mom and dad, and they try to find a living donor for her. And all her friends and his friends, they get together and they put posters out, so they can perhaps find someone who's interested in trying to test for Jeannie. And this is about going to the doctor and getting checked. We also have some information about the kidneys and how important they are and what they do in your body. And then, to Jeannie's surprise, it turns out that her Aunt Vivian um, is a perfect match for her. And she surprises Jeannie with that news that they're going to go and have the transplant. And here's Hal the night before, and he's helping her pack all the essential things that she needs. And the cats that are in this photo are actually our own cats. The Oscar and Felix are my cats, and then Becker was my sister's cat. So there's a lot of hidden gems in here. The Vivian who's in here, the Aunt Vivian, it's similar to my sister, and her birthmark is on there. And this Coach bag that she always carried, I got for her for Christmas one year, and she loved it. I actually buried her with that Coach bag, by the way. So with all her favorite stuff in there, and yeah, I put it in the casket with her. Yeah. So it's all about education, and it's a fun book, but it has a strong purpose and strong message. And here on the back we have a glossary of some of the big words because we have to use them. And it's a picture of me on my last dialysis treatment there. And then here is Brenda and I were at the Transplant Games of America. That was in San Diego in 2022. And then this is Pat and I at our surgery. And then that's Brenda and her recipient when Brenda was donating 21 years ago. This you can also get it at any of the major online retailers, but if you would like a personalized copy, I'd be happy to, and just send me an email and I'll get it out to you. It's all about giving back and finding strength, and writing can be very therapeutic for you. I don't know, you could speak to this, Sherry. You've been through so much in your life. It's hard to write about it and to relive it again, but for some people it brings peace, and for writing it brought me peace. For the three books that I've been blessed to be a part of have truly helped me along the way. So if you get an opportunity to write, even if you're not a writer, you just jot things down and put it in a journal, and then you close it, and then when you feel like writing again, you write a little bit more. It's not a race. It's just to give you peace with everything that everyone is going through.
That because how cathartic it is. I'd like to quickly go back to when you learned about your kidney diagnosis. That began dialysis, and you said you were angry and came to the point where you had to do dialysis. You realized you could do with being angry or being grateful. Do you recall what prompted you to step back, look at it, and pivot your thinking, and whatever that was? Do you still you said today when faced with adversity.
Yeah. Um, I don't know the exact moment that I pivoted. I just knew that I didn't want to go through life like that. I had my pity party for 6 months. That's what I called it. I had my pity party. I felt sorry for myself. I was angry. I was confused. I was scared, all that. And I didn't know why it happened to me, why I was picked, like how bad of a person could I have been that I have to live life off of a machine, right? I think basically I just looked at the people around me who didn't have a family and they were on it for years. And I just wanted to find, believe it or not, some kind of joy out of it. um, because I don't want to be miserable, I don't want to be sad. I was young and there's a whole life ahead of me. There's a reason for it. Whatever reason was, I don't know, even to this day, but it led me to where I am today. If that did not happen, I say getting sick might have been one of the best things that ever happened to me. As strange as that sounds, because
No,
it was a progression
no.
of different things that happened in my life since then. And it'll be 7 years. Well, it'll be 7 years in June for our transplant, but that was 2013 is when I was first diagnosed. So now it's beyond 10 years on that. I just didn't want to be miserable. It's like, okay, come on, let's do what you got to do. Go to work, do what you have to do there, get your treatment, and you know what? Do the best you can. And you could travel. Imagine you could travel being on dialysis, which didn't understand at first. I didn't know you can do that. And I just did dialysis wherever I went. The social worker at the center helped me set that up. I went to Disney.
Wow.
I traveled. I didn't go to a foreign country. I didn't go on a cruise, but I did fly to California, Florida, wherever else I went to. And I was able to do treatment there. So I made the best out of the worst situation that I could possibly do for myself, for my family, I don't know. And then here, with Pat coming around, I was just waiting. The average wait time, like I said, is about 7 years in New Jersey on the transplant list for a deceased kidney. So I was, my sister offered, I turned her down for my reasons. And then somebody above sent this angel to me. I call her my earth angel. I'm like, well, somebody, God wants to save me for a reason, right? I could have been sitting there on dialysis still to this day, or I could have passed, like unfortunately my 4 friends did at dialysis. So I was saved for a reason. I'm still not sure, but you know what? I'm not going to think too hard into it because I'm just very blessed to be here with amazing people like you. I was blessed to connect with you through Kiwi Publishing, and that was a whole step to get there, right? I didn't anticipate that. I have a finance degree. I was in the financial industry for 31 years. Now I'm in the publishing world. I'm a movie person. I'm not a book person. I'm a movie person.
Yeah.
So it's crazy.
Well, I believe that everyone who hears this conversation will pick up on what I have since hearing your story and just getting to know you. You have had a very powerful, positive impact on thousands of people. You were humble, you were modest, so I will never way for you to agree. But, Jean, you are a beautiful, bright, shining star who makes this world a far better, funnier place. Thank you for giving hope, helping people the way that you do, and inspiring the way that you do. It is an honor to know you, to call you friend, and to work alongside of you. You have taught me a lot just in the little time we have known one another. Thank you again. I took up a lot of
It was my pleasure. And you know, I can talk to you for hours, so I'm humbled and I'm very grateful. And if I could just have a closing line to share with your amazing audience is, you know, you don't know what life is going to throw at you. So embrace the day, you know, enjoy every day because tomorrow's not promised, and go find your joy, whatever it may be. If you need to get away and be by yourself and go to the beach or take a drive somewhere or go buy an ice cream for yourself, whatever it is that brings you joy, make sure you take time to do that, because life will pass by you like that and you will have regrets. So live your best life and keep shining bright.
Perfectly said, and I'll add, do what Jean and I and many others have done. Found joy at the darkest, most depressing, grief stricken moments. Yes, there go inward, and you will find it. And doing that will change your life.
Well said. Yes.
Thank you for listening. If today's conversation resonated with you and you're ready to explore your own healing journey or intuitive gifts, I'd love to work with you. I offer psychic medium readings, energy healing sessions, and intuitive development guidance at shariroberts.org. And if you're not quite ready for a session, but want to be a part of the conversation in a supportive community, join my private Facebook group. The link is in the show notes. You can also connect with me on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. This is Shari Lee Roberts. Until next time, remember, you're never alone.